Hey friends, what's up? It's Moses here from Driver Success. I hope you guys are doing well. So I've been receiving messages from drivers that are in their training, or some that have left their training and have not been having a good experience with their trainers. And so I just thought I should share with you a few things to keep in mind to help some of you that are in training or that are planning to get into training. What I'm going to do is share with you what I took from my training, the experience that I went through, and hopefully I can give you a few pointers and things to think about. Now, I would love to think that things have changed for the better, because when I went to training in trucking school, that was more than 10 years ago. I did my training in 2006. So I would love to think that now things have gotten better. Probably people that are training are better. But from the messages that I'm getting from trainees, it looks like some of the things don't change. So one of the things we must understand is that we can't change others. We can only work on ourselves. And so you have to understand that sometimes it may not be that you as the trainee have the problem. It may be that the trainer has the problem. And on the other side, I also want to say that sometimes it's not the trainer, it is the trainee. So I don't want to say it's all the trainers' fault, and I don't want to say it's all the trainees' fault. Sometimes it's just that people are not a good match. And the other thing is, you have to understand that during the training season, you are dealing with another personality, another person. Some people get into training not because they are good teachers. They get in there because there is good money to be made. Or some people, they just love it because they feel like they can show off that they know something. But that doesn't really mean they are good at teaching or they are good at training. So that's one thing we must understand, that some of the people that are training, some of the trainers out there are not really good at what they do. They are in there for the money, or they are in there just for pride to say that I'm a trainer. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But I also want to say that as a trainee, you have to understand that sometimes the trainers feel frustrated because depending on how the training program you go through, they give them people that really are not yet ready to be on the road to be trained. And so sometimes I think that can be a frustrating thing. And I think in that case, it's really the responsibility of the trainer to judge and say, you know what, the person they gave me is not ready for the road, and they should communicate with their manager instead of taking that frustration on the student. There should be a good way to communicate with the manager and letting the manager know, listen, this person you gave me, I think needs to be worked before they get on the road. They need to go back and get a few things right. But sometimes what the trainer will do, they will take the frustration onto the student, which really doesn't help it doesn't help the trainer, it doesn't help the trainee. So here are things that as a trainee you have to understand. Trainers can get frustrated because if you are not ready to be out to be trained on the road, that can be something that can frustrate. But one of the things as a trainee, when you are going into a training program, you have to understand why you are there. You are there to train. So I know there are some people that may be, I don't know any other way to say it right or to say it properly, but there are some people, because of their personalities, that are kind of big-headed. I'm sorry to say that, and I just hope it's not you. You are a good trainee, right? But I'm saying there are some trainees that can be big-headed. They are there as students, but sometimes they may want to feel like maybe they know it all. And so they are not good at listening. If you are a trainee, go there with a heart to learn. Go there to know that, you know what, I'm here to learn, so I'm going to do most of the listening. I'm going to try and just swallow my pride and do the listening and see what this trainer is telling me, and make sure that I take in as much as possible. Having said that, some trainers are really poor trainers and they shouldn't even be trainers at all. So don't let anyone try to make you feel like you are a nobody, because as a trainer they are there to train you and to really make you a safe driver, a professional driver, and to really impact you in a good way. So if they are not doing that and they are just not being good trainers, please don't take that. Get in touch with your coordinator or your trainer, your manager, and let them know that probably things are not working out well. You'd prefer to have another trainer. During my time of training, I went through Sarah England has 2 phases of training. They first pair you up with a driver. You are with that driver for a period of I think 3 to 4 weeks, after which you go back to the terminal, and then they take you through a test. They do a test on the terminal and they see if you're ready to go to a second phase. If you're ready to go to a second phase, they give you a different trainer. And during that phase, you are almost driving like a team. He's still your trainer, but it's more like a team operation. Now, the way it worked for me, when I went out with the first trainer, the guy was a good guy, but the challenge with him is he wasn't good at training because he had an anger issue. Every time you made a small mistake, he would just burst out in anger. And it got to a point where I just couldn't take that, because as I said, I was a new driver. I wasn't sure of what I was doing, and this guy, instead of helping me out, telling me what to do, he was just yelling at me and asking me why did I do that. Instead of him telling me what I should do, he was asking me why I did that. And I was just getting frustrated. He was getting frustrated, and I just couldn't take it all. So I called my coordinator and told her, listen, this guy is a good guy, but things are not working out. I had been on his truck for 2 weeks. So I just called my coordinator, and my coordinator pulled me off of his truck. The thing is, that guy, he didn't know when I called that trainer, because I waited when he was out of the truck for me to call the coordinator. And so when he came back in the truck, I told him, hey, listen, because the coordinator told me to tell him, not to tell him what had happened, just to tell him that I have an emergency at home. So I told him, hey, when we go back to the yard, I have an emergency at home, so I need to get off the truck. And I think he sensed right away that probably I was not coming back on his truck. And he was trying to say, oh, did I do anything wrong? And he was saying, oh, I'm sorry, it's just I have an anger issue. I told him, no, there's nothing wrong with you. I'm just leaving. I have an emergency. Anyway, they gave me a different trainer. And luckily enough, the second trainer they gave me was a really, really wonderful guy. And I was so, excuse me, I was so glad that I had got that trainer. Everything worked out well. But I was on his truck for only 1 week, because he wanted me to stay for another week, but I told him no. Because for me, what I wanted is I didn't want to be in training for a long time. So those had been they had told me I was going to be in the first phase for 3 weeks. So I felt like I needed to go back and try out to see if I can pass for the second phase. So this guy wanted me to stay on his truck for another week, but I told him I needed to try out the testing. Luckily enough for me, when I tried out the testing, it worked out, and I went to the next phase. When I left that first phase, I almost had not been trained in backing at all. Both of these trainers were so much into making money that every time we go to a place like where I should practice backing, they would say, don't worry, I'll teach you later on. And so they really never taught me to back up. That's why the second trainer even didn't want me to get off his truck, because he was like, oh, can you stay for another week so I can teach you how to back up? But I had realized these guys were all about making money, making miles, because they were being paid for all those miles we were driving. So I told him, no, I needed to go to the second phase. I went to the second phase. The second phase, the first guy they gave me, I was on his truck for only 2 days. 2 days, and I realized this wasn't the guy for me, because he was a young guy. He was all into like playing. He wasn't really serious about what he was doing. So I remember with him, I was so mad at what he was doing that I didn't even wait for him to get out of the truck. I called the coordinator when he was in the truck driving. I told him, listen, we are not getting along with this guy. May I please have another trainer? That guy was in shock when he had me talk to the coordinator. And I remember him telling me, give me the phone, give me the phone. It was my phone, by the way. So I gave him the phone so he can talk to the coordinator. And when he got the phone, the first thing he said, he was like, this guy can never make it in trucking. He is not cut out for trucking. That's the first thing that he's told the coordinator. And I remember the coordinator telling, because the coordinator was on speakerphone, the coordinator told him, it is not your place to decide who is a truck driver and who is not. So she told him to drop me off in a hotel. But here is what I loved about that. The coordinator told him it wasn't his choice to decide who is going to make it in trucking or not. So this guy thought he could just take advantage of me, because I just didn't like the way he was acting. So I say all that to say that, it's a long story if I was to tell you what this guy was doing. But I say all that to say that don't let anyone decide how you treat your career and what you do. So you are the one to decide if trucking is for you or if it's not. Be there to learn. Know that you are there to learn, but don't let anyone put you down in any way. By the way, after that guy, the second trainer they gave me, he was a wonderful person. And in my mind, I'm like, I wish these two trainers, like the first phase, I wish they had given me the second trainer first. And the second phase, I wish they had given me the second trainer first, because I got along with those other trainers and I was able to complete my training program even in time, even after finding those two bad trainers. So again, the very first trainer wasn't really a bad guy, but he wasn't cut out for training. So I say that to say that I went through 4 trainers to complete my training. So you may, however many trainers you have to go through, if you do not get a good trainer, ask for another trainer. But on the other hand, don't just ask for another trainer just because you can ask for another trainer. Just make sure that when you are there to learn. Nobody is going to babysit you. But on the other hand, don't let anyone take you for granted, or don't let anyone abuse your rights. You must remember that during the training time, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because you are in a small room, just a small room with 2 people. You are strangers to each other. You don't know this guy or girl, and they don't know you. Personalities may be different, and just the fact that you guys are on the road driving, it's very easy for one to frustrate the other if you do not keep yourself in check. In my opinion, trainers should be trained on how to handle people, on how to de-escalate situations, on how to be patient. But not all trainers can do that. As I said, some trainers are in there for the money, some trainers are in there for the pride of it. But they are you will find trainers that are in there for the heart. They really love what they do. They want to impact other people with teaching them. They know how to teach. They are patient. They can really pass on the information well. So keep in mind that people are going to be different. You are dealing with people. You are dealing with personalities. But at the end of it all, you have to go there with the attitude of learning. You are there to learn. You are there, you're going to be in that truck training for maybe a month or 2 months, whatever time your training program is going to be for. Just know that it is just for that short time. So you may have to put up with some stuff that you would not normally put up with, but bear it for the time being. But I'm saying put up with some stuff, but if you think it's too much, just ask for another trainer. But if it's something that you can really get over it and just be there, learn your skill, get out. Time is gonna come when you get your own truck and start doing your own thing. When you are there, try as much as possible to put in as much time as possible in learning the skill. But let me tell you, the real learning will come when you are by yourself. No one is there to tell you what to do. That is when you will really learn very fast, because no one will be there to help you with pre-trips or planning out your trips or learning or backing up. It will be all on you. That's when now your learning will really be even accelerated. So just be patient with yourself. Again, as I said, if you get a trainer that you cannot stand, just ask for another trainer. If you get a trainer where you figure out that you can be able to stand certain things, then just bear it for that time. Remember, set your eyes on the goal. You are there for 1 month, you are there for 2 months. Get the information you need, get the skills you need. You'll be out of there and you'll be on your way. So I don't know if this kind of helps you guys, but I just wanted to share it with you because I'm getting messages from people that are in their training program that are not really happy with how things are going. So hopefully that helps you out, guys. All right, until next time, stay blessed and stay safe.